Today, I will be ranking every Firebug weapon on Killing Floor 3 from worst to best, looking at guns on the hard difficulty. Timestamps in description. Without any further ado, let's get right into things.
I don't play with fire, I work with it.
Coming in at number 5, the bottom of my list, I placed the Dragon's Breath shotgun. Now I would like to say that this is not a awful gun, it's more of just not great, and if it were the free spawn-in weapon instead of the brimstone, it might not be on the bottom of my list. So I guess the biggest reason it's my least favorite Firebug gun is because you have to pay for it, as I don't think it's worth its full asking price. This thing does do a crap ton of damage per shot though, dealing 600 base damage, and I believe it can deal burn damage over time of up to 1,200 damage per shot, but it's held back by a low rate of fire, and its ammo count feels kind of small, holding a 10 round mag and 100 total ammo. And its small mag size can result in frequent reloads, and the thing just doesn't feel very accurate, especially when being hip fired, versus the Killing Floor 1 and 2 Dragon's Breath, which I could easily hip fire. And this gun just feels like it got a giant nerf in my opinion, as it's one of my favorite Killing Floor 1 guns, and I love using it on Killing Floor 2 also. But the Killing Floor 3 version? Meh. It does cosmetically look nice with customization though, and I personally made one with the chromatic blue skin, cyst, Z-ball keychain, and the flesh pound sticker. Does anyone else feel like the previous versions of this gun are better? Tell me down in the comments, but enough said about this gun, onto my number 4 spot. Coming in at the number 4 slot on my list, I placed the Sidearm Pyre 357 revolver, which, shot per shot, is actually the most powerful pistol in the game looking at primary fire, dealing 210 damage per shot, which is pretty impressive I must say. As a revolver, it holds a 6 round mag and has a hefty 180 total ammo count, which is close to double the Dragon's Breath max ammo, although it does suffer from frequent reloads, which are kind of slow. But I made a custom pistol with a tier 1 speed reloader attachment, which helped take care of that problem, reducing the reload time by 11%, which doesn't sound like much, but you'll notice the before and after difference for sure. And I named said custom pistol Snubnose, because this kind of is a snub-nose revolver, and I gave it the Metro Mercenary skin for cosmetics. That's all I have to say about this gun. Time to move on to the next slot. Firing its way onto my number 3 spot, I hand this one to the default IR-50 Brimstone, which I believe is classified as an SMG, and it's a pretty decent spawn-in firearm, serving up 100 points of pain onto the Zeds per shot, although it does suffer from a small 20 round magazine and a somewhat slow rate of fire, in addition to needing reloads more often than I'd like, but it does hold a maximum of 375 total ammo, which happens to be incendiary bullets, which deal burning damage over time, and said bullets let off a small explosion of fire on impact, which can be useful for crowd control and situations where you just need to spray and pray. Plus this thing has fair range and not a lot of recoil, which is good. I personally built a custom Brimstone with a tier 1 fast action receiver, which gave it a 16% damage boost and a 6% rate of fire increase, although this sadly raised the price quite a bit. As far as cosmetics go, I painted it with the chromatic blue skin, in addition to putting on a flesh pound sticker and the Dosh clip keychain. Enough said about the number 3 spot, onto my number 2 position. Coming in hot to take the second place trophy, I hand this one to the Incinerator M7 Flamethrower, and it was honestly a hard call for me to decide which I preferred, the Incinerator or the Brimstone, and this Flamethrower ultimately won, but they're still pretty close in my opinion. The Incinerator has some cons, like its low range, surprisingly low damage, 60 DPS, and small magazines, 50 fuel per mag, so kind of frequent reloads. But It's pretty good for closer range encounters and great for groups of weaker Zeds, although not a weapon I'd suggest for fighting flesh pounds, although I must praise its 800 total ammo. And, as a fire weapon, its damage over time factor, and it ultimately won second place on my list, and my custom variant has the Fear the Reaper keychain and Safety Last sticker. Time to move on to my number 1 spot, the Vulcan TA. The Vulcan TA is also a flamethrower, but it is much better than the incinerator and is guaranteed to make sure that Zeds do not live long and prosper. Now, this weapon has 2 modes, the traditional flamethrower with a longer range than the incinerator, used for closer encounters, dealing 65 DPS when you want to go trigger happy and spray everywhere, and this also has a fireball launcher, used for more precise and or longer range shots, and it deals a massive 300 DPS. Plus, you can charge up fireballs to deal extra damage, although I'm not 100% sure how much damage a fully charged ball of flame does compared to a normal one. To top things off, this bad boy, while pricey, holds a 1,200 ammo mag and 14,000 total ammo and is well worth its asking price and is great for boss fights, and I consider it the best weapon of the Firebug perk. I made a custom Vulcan by the name of Big Boom with the pre-order Flatliner skin, Fear the Reaper keychain, and combustible AF sticker. And that is my ranking of every Firebug gun on Killing Floor 3. I have a feeling I might get some heat for this video, but feel free to tell me in the comments what you think of my list and why you agree or disagree with me. And if you like this vid, feel free to check out my other videos where I rank Killing Floor 3 guns. I've so far previously covered Commando, Sharpshooter, and Medic, and will likely do Engineer next. As far as our Bible verse of the day, I read from 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 8, NIV. Above all, love each other deeply, because love covers a multitude of sins. And that's all from me for today. Like always, none of my content is made by AI, and I do not consent to my voice and likeness being modified or replicated by AI in any way, form, or shape. Thanks for watching. Always remember that Jesus loves you all. Peace.